And the correct pronunciation of your name, last name, Adam, is Lee, right?
You got it.
Just kidding.
Not gonna.
Just kidding. All right, guys, let's have some fun here.
Cool.
Are you ready? Here we go.
Ready.
3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. We are here in this beautiful town called Austin, Texas, at the 2017 Big Bright Minds, put on by the fine folks at Filene. And I'm here with Mr. Rob Meloche. Oh my gosh. You got it second
Your
time.
French is good.
Thank you. Oui, oui. And then Adam Lee from Filene. How are you guys?
Doing very well.
Doing well, doing great.
Good job. All right. Hey, let's talk about what's the latest progress with the RMH incubator. Rob, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So the Reaching Minority Households Incubator has been up and running for about a year and a half, I guess, since we've been live testing it. We have 38 credit unions now actively testing one of 5 products that's across the country. Okay. Great thing is it's credit unions from 10 million in assets up to $1 billion in assets in size.
So runs the gamut.
Yeah, it just was the goal, was to make sure this would work across credit unions.
Okay.
So as of right now, I think we've just crossed 20 million.
25 million.
25 million in loans issued to date. And these are getting people into better auto loans, I-10 lending for non-citizens and immigrant communities, things like Qcash, which is one of the products.
Oh yeah, I had been in there earlier.
Payday loan alternatives, trying to get people out of those debt traps. So we still have a lot, long way to go, a lot to learn, but it's been a great progress.
Well, yeah, it sounds fairly new as well. I mean, just a year and a half, you say.
Yeah.
So lots of upside. It sounds like. Adam, anything to add there?
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of the numbers that you see. I mean, we just had a slide in some of the sessions that we talked about of just the numbers and where they stand. And those numbers don't tell the full story about the success of the incubator, because we have to look deeper to the stories of how we're changing the lives of consumers. The whole point of the incubator is not to develop and try to get programs out there that can make the most money or make the highest number of loans, but it's about that profound impact that credit unions can make in the lives of consumers.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that when we look beyond just the numbers of where we stand, beyond $25 million in loans issued, because it varies widely of the programs that we're testing. But what we're learning in the process is what is working, what is not working, with the ultimate goal of being able to share that information with the marketplace so people can keep iterating and building on these programs and building them so they can impact consumers. So it's great to be able to see those numbers gains, but seeing the success in some of the challenges that we're facing, but also amplifying some of the successes of programs that are showing incredible promise to be scaled widely that Rob talked about. Because that's the ultimate goal of what we're doing, is that we can do all this research, but it has to be out in the credit unions that actually implement them to make the difference.
Yeah, I mean, the success of it is not the 38 original testers. They were the ones who stepped up to try to pioneer and model these. The goal is if we can reach hundreds and thousands of credit unions. That's the whole concept. Right. So that's the exciting part, is we're now moving into that phase to take the best practices for something like community microfinance and basically build implementation guides, and any credit union can take that program up and put it into their community.
So you guys are finding like the pain points or the gaps that aren't being covered, and so this is what
Yeah, and these 38, and the 38 have had to live through those pain points. So so they're really heroes for doing that and for the movement. And so the great news is once it comes into these implementation guides this year, all the pain has been learned by these other folks. And so now you can be confident bringing that into your credit union and say, hey, look, this is tested, it's viable, it's financially sustainable, it's impactful, and it has a human impact as well. So that'll be nice.
Yeah, very nice. So what are some other programs that you can talk about that the incubators are working on right now? Do you want to go with that, Rob? Or?
Well, it's probably worth referencing that. I mean, this is part of Filene's larger, which you should really be doing this bit. Sort of innovation agenda, right? So the incubator started with support from the Ford Foundation, and then Visa came along to help to expand and to really focus in on minority households in this one. But for what we're talking about now is we want this to be we never meant this to be a sort of okay, let's do it, test it, publish a report, yay, we're done. We want this to be a constant sort of rapid prototyping, iteration, and keep building on these models and move much more quickly. Because that's the whole idea, is that this is, in some ways, this is just a matter of intent and will, right? This is a credit union deciding, I'm going to go deeper into my community, I'm going to serve populations I don't normally serve. And so we want to make it easier for people to connect to that and not feel like, oh, well, there's an incubator going, I'll wait till the end of the year and join it. So we're trying to figure out ways to kind of speed up that flywheel.
Make it a little bit faster? Okay.
Faster and bring more people in.
Yeah,
but still impactful, right? Faster, but also easier ways for people to plug into it that isn't maybe the length of commitment. And also, we're being the Filene Research Institute, we're both committed to really measuring and evaluating this, but at the same time, we don't have to wait until the evaluation's done to make changes or bring new people on or try new things. And I think that's what we're trying to shorten that development cycle.
Okay, gotcha. Adam?
Yeah. I mean, so Rob had mentioned some of the programs that we're currently testing in the Reaching Minority Households Incubator, but as he alluded to, it is much part of that broader financial empowerment incubator and the broader Filene capacity of innovation. One of the programs that I think I'd just like to very quickly mention is something that started as our first incubator that has had new life. There was some additional research that happened, and that's the employer-sponsored small dollar loans, and we just recently issued some research. Part of what we've seen in helping move the needle for minority households is that ability to find a better payday alternative loan. These things can really put people down a dark track in terms of their financial stability, and credit unions are in a unique position to offer something better at a much better rate to meet those emergency needs, to help with income stability. This particular program, with some support from the FINRA Education Foundation, we had some continued research that we did, and we just published those implementation guides, free resources for credit unions to be able to pick up that program and run with it, as Rob alluded to, because we need to scale these things.
Right.
And it's a great program that they look to build on some of the challenges that credit unions are facing of growing their membership and reconnecting with some of their segs that they didn't serve, and working with employers to issue those payday loans in the workplace. And the credit union can back it and help people build their credit score in the process. It's a really fantastic program that we think has a lot of promise in addition to the ones that we're testing right now. But I think that it speaks to that larger point that Rob made, is that we're constantly iterating on these ideas, we're constantly improving on them. They have life beyond just the research and the report that we do. And sometimes it's just the right time in history. And there's no better time in history now than I think the need of vulnerable populations to have these types of services.
Wow, love this stuff. You guys are like in this laboratory with these white coats and these beakers and stuff, just creating these really cool products.
Geeks. Is that what you're saying?
In a good way.
In a good way. Yeah.
Exactly. All the best intentions here, Rob. So, can you guys discuss the work of the testing of the credit unions to make a real difference for people in their community? You guys, Adam, you want to take that first? Or?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the thing that we've been articulating a lot about is the fuel that fires the whole Filene incubator. Obviously, we need great support from the Ford Foundation, Visa, and our partners to be able to make this work happen. But the testers are the ones that take this on to be able to invest the time and resources to see how these concepts actually work in the real world. Because what we find is that one credit union may have wild success, but others don't. And it's asking the question why, so that everyone can collectively learn from it. The testers are the ones that do this hard work. They take the time to share their data with, they take time to set up these programs, they take the time to connect with their members, they help us issue surveys. They're vital partners as well in making sure that this happens. The testing community that Filene has built is something absolutely essential for the work that we do, and it speaks to that larger point of the financial cooperative principles, and that's cooperatives helping cooperatives. I haven't seen any better example of credit unions taking that time, investing their own time and energy to benefit the entire credit union movement.
Yeah, it's like a kind of a greater good message, I guess. You know? So you want to?
The impact is focused on underserved households. So 50% of households of color in the U.S. are underbanked, underserved, according to the FDIC. There's a massive.
It's a big number.
It's a huge number. There's a massive racial wealth gap in the U.S.
Yes.
It take an African American family over 200 years to close the gap on an average white family. So we just these mind-boggling sort of number gaps. And so that's our focus, is to have the impact on those individual households and lives. What's been fascinating about the incubator work is it's having an equally important impact on the credit unions themselves. Right? In fact, you might say this early stages, as we've only, early on, the bigger impact has actually been on the credit unions. On their morale, on their employee base. Gabe from Kern this morning was talking about he said said the cultural change that we've gone through as a credit union and sort of rediscovering our sort of purpose through this. So the 5 products are great, but we never thought any of them were the answer to those big gap numbers. We knew that if we could get people focused on the issue, give them a way to get started, that it would create a snowball effect inside the credit union and hopefully drive it forward.
Yeah, they're making a difference. I mean, when you're working for an institution or an organization like a credit union, you can see the difference and that gives you so much pride, I think, in your work, and that builds loyalty, and I want to stay with this organization.
I mean, employee retention, recruitment, of course, there's also the business opportunity that's out there because of the spending power in these communities that are going underserved. So it's that's been a really exciting part to see.
A lot of peripheral benefits, it sounds like.
Yeah, the credit unions that are doing this and stepping up to serve their most financially vulnerable members, I think, are really paving the way to the future of how credit unions can be unique and relevant and different in the marketplace. And they're finding it as a tremendous business opportunity of helping their own bottom lines, their credit union's bottom line, their members' bottom line, and community's bottom line as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of credit unions are starting to open their eyes to that possibility to address a lot of the inherent challenges that credit unions are facing today, to do good by the community, but also do good business at the same time.
Yeah, it sounds like it makes this work really well worth it. You know, there's a little bit of, I'm sure there's a little bit of pain involved with the incubation process, but it's the end game here is so rewarding. All right, guys, I know you got lots of stuff to do here, so let's wrap up here with kind of a 2018 outlook for the incubator. Adam, let's start with you first.
Well, so one of the big things I think for everyone to keep a watch out for is that we will be publishing the final results, the research report for the Reaching Minority Households Incubator in about Q2 of 2018. And as Rob mentioned, those implementation guides, which really creates action, right? This is not just another Filene research report that comes out, but actually providing tools that people can take action on to start making a difference in their communities. Keep an eye out for that. But in addition, to start looking to what's next, we've had a lot of discussions today with our innovation competency, telling the audience that we're reimagining our own innovation. We're reimagining our own incubator competency to say how can we address the needs of credit unions better moving forward. And we're looking to launch some ideas in 2018 as well, so keep an eye out for that as well.
Okay, we'll be on pins and needles waiting for that information. Rob, any final words?
Yeah, so for Visa, in addition to the support of this, we're figuring out how can we better help our credit union members, our huge network of credit unions, implement these materials. So we'll be doing that directly, not just through the Visa, through the Filene channels, through the state leagues and that, but also as a Visa partner and with our credit union network. How do we drive this stuff forward? So that'll be my focus in 2018, is making sure we operationalize these things in Visa as much as we can.
That's what I like about this conference. It kind of it's a great way to cap off the year, but it's giving you motivation for 2018.
That's right.
All right, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Adam Lee and Rob Malash from Visa. All
Thank
right,
you.
guys, good job. Keep up the good work.
Thanks.
Well done, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Yay, that went really well. Except for my screw up in the beginning.
Oh, no, dude, come on.
You're signing the LA News all the time, aren't you?
What's that? All right, Ryan, if you are ready, I am ready.
I'm ready whenever you
All
are.
right, the mic is on, and
Hot
we are.
mic.
It's hot.
Hot
Watch out! All right. Hey, we are here at the 2017 Filene Big Bright Minds Conference here in a wonderful place called Austin, Texas, which is now looking more like Austin, Texas today.
Yeah, it was
Not
a
last night.
little hit and miss last night with the snow. I'm from Minnesota, and there was snow in Austin.
But no snow in Minnesota.
No.
Go figure.
No, right? It was insane. Insane. I didn't bring shorts.
I didn't either.
Luckily, didn't bring shorts.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
That's it. That's my whole story about
All right,
snow.
well, interview's done. All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, I think we're done. Yeah, that's good. Is that scene?
We are here with Ryan Foss from Filene, and we're talking about the weather, but we're talking about something else pretty cool about the Filene, the incubator programming.
Right.
What's the latest? What's going on here? What's the future of it?
You know, it's interesting. We're at an interesting point of our time at Filene in regards to the incubator. You know, we have this incredible rich history with our I3 teams that really drive innovation at Filene. We just spent a whole day yesterday having 7 teams present prototypes they've been working on the last 7 months and reporting on the outcomes of solutions to real problems credit union members are facing. But we're at a kind of an interesting pivot point in that, you know, the last 13 years we've been innovating in much the same way.
Yeah.
Our method hasn't changed. It works. It's solid. It's a process. And it's all based on human-centered design. Right? But 13 years ago when Filene started innovating, we were kind of the only people on the street, right? And human-centered design was actually kind of novel. And now there's human-centered design, there's week sprints, there's hackathons, there's agile development, there's scrum masters, there's so many different methods out there, and they're all good, right? And they're all good. And coupled on top of that, you know, when we started 13 years ago, you know, there weren't a ton of fintech startups out there.
True.
And now I couldn't even tell you how many billions are invested in startups annually.
Yeah.
And you know, we're just a little nonprofit innovating for credit unions, right? And so we're at an interesting time. We're trying to think, okay, how do we reinvent ourselves? How do we take our own medicine and say, you know, we're always preaching, you know, take the better that you are, the good things that you're doing, and replace them with something better.
Yeah.
We constantly preach that. But maybe it's time for us to take our own medicine. So we've been on this journey the last few months of really meeting with key stakeholders and talking about what do credit unions look like in 10 years, right? If certain trends in our industry around income inequality, the gig economy, millennials, climate change, if those trends continue, what does the landscape look for credit unions in 10 years?
Yeah, no doubt.
And what role can credit unions play ultimately, and then what role can we play to help credit unions prepare for that unknown future? And how it relates to innovation, right, is how do we give these credit union leaders the tools to innovate on their own and start developing that next generation of credit union leaders who are actually prepared for an unknown future in 10 years?
Well, I mean, the change right now is so rapid and so fast-paced that right. You guys got a big challenge in front of you.
Sometimes innovation feels like reaction.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not proactive anymore. It's reacting to what's out there.
Innovation's it's a buzzword, and it's almost the level set now.
Yeah.
Everyone should be innovation.
Exactly.
So like, how do you leapfrog that and start thinking about 5, 7, 10 years out, so that you're not reacting in 10 years. You're actually mindful and you've already planned for it, and you have some things in the hopper that you've been working on.
Yeah, you're semi ahead of the curve.
Exactly.
So how is Filene innovating today? I mean, what are they? I mean, you're talking about changing the process, making it more efficient, productive, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So how are you guys doing it?
Right, and so we're actually on kind of two paths. I use an analogy in the session today around we're on a highway on top of a highway.
Okay.
And I got it because we were actually traveling in a bus yesterday, and Austin has a highway on a highway. We were on the bottom level.
The double-decker.
And we asked the driver, are there actually people up there? And there were. There was a highway on top of a highway. And so on the base level, right, we're continuing to do what we do well. We're continuing to do what we do well, and that's human-centered design, our Filene innovation methodology. It's the competency that our innovation program is based upon. We just got a great new crew of I3ers that came in this week. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, and so tomorrow we're spending a whole day with a new cycle of I3ers, and we're going to start we're going to tweak innovation a little differently based on where we think we're going. It's a little fuzzy right now. But that's the main level, right? That's the main level where we're going to have I3 teams continue to innovate like we've always innovated. But like I said, with innovation in a buzzword, that's the main level, right? Okay. That's almost level setting. Right. That level above it, how we're innovating is, about 3 months ago, we brought a group of 50 stakeholders to Chicago. And we spent a day and a half talking about exactly what I was talking about, doing strategic foresight exercises around what is the landscape for credit unions in 10 years. And then 2 weeks after that, I brought into my hometown of Minneapolis, I brought in over a dozen former I3 innovators who are scattered across the United States and Canada. And we spent a day and a half taking that information and deconstructing the current I3 program and the current methodology of innovation and saying, okay, if this is what it looks like, what's our role in innovation? And what does I3 look like right now? And how could it be different and more improved? Because one thing we hear from all the I3ers is they love the methodology, but they want more, right? They want more tools in their toolbox to take back to their credit unions. Right? And so that's one thing we want to give them, because ultimately it's great that we incubate products. And we've done some really cool stuff, right? We've incubated some cool things and things that are scaled in our industry now. But the more important thing, the theory of change around I3, is to give the next generation the tools that they need to make that change in their credit union on their own, right? So that they don't even need us anymore.
Oh my gosh, you guys have not a full plate,
right,
but a full buffet.
Right, exactly. We got a lot going on. 2 highways at the same time on top of each other.
Oh my gosh. So I mean, that's a good segue into my kind of wrap-up question here, kind of your plans for 2008 with this continued evolution of your evolution of innovation. Wow, that's a...
Exactly, right? And so... I wish I could give you a clear answer. It's actually a little fuzzy right now.
Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, and it's actually good. You know, we actually have kind of a draft strategy around the vision that we're currently aligning to, and we have a number of stakeholder interviews, feedback sessions planned with people who actually care deeply about the work that we're doing. And then we'll start implementing some new things into our innovation competency with the goal of, you know what, when you're interviewing me next year at Big Bright Minds, we will have something completely different with some of the best things that we're doing now still ingrained in it. And things are going to change over the next year. And people can be on the bus, and I hope they're going to be on the bus, and they're going to give us feedback along the way, and we're really excited for the direction we're going.
Very cool. Great message to end on. Sounds like you guys are still in 5th gear, going high speed, going all the way.
So always on the treadmill.
Good stuff. All right, Ryan, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work, sir.
Awesome.
Well done, man. All right, excellent day. Look at that.
Easy peasy.
Indeed. Look at 7 minutes of fun.